This story was sent to our channel by someone who asked to remain anonymous. The experience you're about to hear changed this person's life forever, and to this day they're still trying to make sense of what really happened. It all started on a cold early morning in Itaipava, a mountainous region in the state of Rio de Janeiro. It was early June and the weather felt strange. Unusually clear skies made the stars look incredibly vivid. The witness, whom we'll simply call R, had traveled alone to her family's house, a secluded chalet tucked away in the mountains, looking for some peace and solitude to work on her music. She's a composer and conductor with a long career in the music world, and she often retreated to that place to create her work. But that night, the silence turned into something unsettling. She told us she woke up around 3 a.m. with a strange feeling, like someone was watching her. The room was pitch black, but there was a pulsing reddish light coming through the cracks in the window. She thought it might be a car, maybe headlights from the road below. But there was no road on that side of the house. Frightened, she got up slowly, pulled back the curtain, and saw what she described as a liquid light orb, floating just a few feet above the ground among the trees. The orb pulsed in shades of red and orange as if it were alive. She was frozen in place as if something was stopping her from moving or looking away. That's when she realized she wasn't alone anymore. Follow our channel so you don't miss the upcoming stories, which for national security reasons might be taken down at any moment. R said that when she slowly turned her head toward the bedroom door, she saw a silhouette. Tall, thin, with very long limbs and grayish skin that seemed to absorb the little light in the room. The figure stared at her with deep, black eyes, expressionless, just a cold and unexplainable presence. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Tried to run, but her body wouldn't respond. She felt a pressure in her head, like something was trying to communicate directly with her mind. It wasn't words, more like sensations: urgency, fear, obedience. And one word, not spoken but imprinted, echoed in her mind: come. The next thing she remembers is being outside again, lying on the ground. In the garden. The sky was now completely dark. No stars, no moon. And the orb was gone. To this day she doesn't know how she got out of the bedroom, or what happened during those missing hours. But everything changed after that night. When I finally made it back inside the house, still barefoot and completely disoriented, something in me had already changed. I felt like I had crossed an invisible boundary. My senses were heightened, but time felt warped. The kitchen clock read 5:47 a.m. And yet, it felt like only a few minutes had passed since I woke up at 3. My first instinct was to look for my phone, but it was off, completely dead, even though I had left it charging the night before. A chill ran down my spine. I went to the bathroom mirror and noticed something even stranger. A thin red mark around my left wrist, as if something had held me there. As if I had been tied or connected to something. Panic took over. I tried to rationalize. Maybe it was a vivid dream, maybe I sleepwalked and left the bed without realizing it. But there was something impossible to ignore. The grass in the garden was pressed down in a circular shape. A perfect circle. In the center, the vegetation was scorched as if something hot and heavy had landed there, but there were no footprints, no tire marks, nothing human. That morning I tried to go about my routine, but everything felt out of place. While playing a few notes on the piano, I realized there was a new melody in my mind. A harmonic sequence I didn't remember composing, and it gave me an inexplicable sense of sadness. It was like I had heard it somewhere before, but it wasn't from this world. In the days that followed, I started having recurring dreams. In every one of them, I was floating in a completely white space. No floor, no ceiling, just an intense light. I felt there were presences around me, but I couldn't see them. It was like they were studying me, observing every heartbeat, every thought. A deep, barely audible sound echoed in the background, like a frequency vibrating inside my body. It didn't take long for me to realize I had lost more than just time. I had lost my peace. Sleeping became nearly impossible. I started fearing the dark, something that had never happened before. Every little noise made my body freeze, waiting for that red light to return, for those hollow eyes to stare at me again. I told 2 people close to me. One laughed and said it was stress. The other stared at me, went pale, and said, "You saw them too?" In that moment, I knew what I had experienced wasn't just an isolated event. There are others. People who saw, who felt, who were taken. And with each passing night, I feel like they're getting closer again. If you believe these stories need to be heard before they disappear, like and share this video. Your support is crucial. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're just beginning to uncover what so many have tried to hide. A few weeks after that night, I started noticing that the dreams were leaving marks on my body. Literally. One random morning as I stepped out of the shower, I noticed 3 small dark circles behind my right ear, like faint burns shaped in a perfect triangle. They were too precise to be natural and they didn't hurt. But the most disturbing part was when they simply vanished, 3 days later, without a trace, without any explanation. That wasn't all. I started hearing strange sounds. A constant humming, especially at night, like a generator running just outside the house. I went out several times to check, but there was nothing. Just silence. A heavy, oppressive silence. That mountain region, which used to bring me peace and inspiration, now made me feel watched all the time. I called a friend who's an astrophysicist and confided some of what was happening. He listened carefully, silently. At the end of the call, he said just one sentence that I still can't get out of my head. You're in the right place. Or the wrong one, depending on how you look at it. After that, he never answered my calls again. That's when I started documenting everything. I installed cameras inside and outside the house. I set up motion sensors. But every night something strange happened. The equipment failed. Cameras shut off, files corrupted, sensors unresponsive. Even my analog clock would stop exactly at 3:12 a.m., the same time everything began that first night. On one particularly cold night, I woke up again to that same reddish light flashing through the window. My heart started racing uncontrollably. My whole body was shaking and a high-pitched sound filled my left ear, like something was trying to pierce through my mind. This time I managed to grab my phone and record. Or at least I tried. I filmed 7 minutes of video. But when I watched it, all that showed up was static noise and a faint glowing outline in the bottom corner of the screen. When I paused the video, my reflection in the mirror looked distorted. My eyes were completely black. It froze me with fear. It felt like, for a brief moment, something had been inside me. After that, I started having memory lapses. I'd leave for the grocery store and find myself driving somewhere else, far away, with no idea how I got there. I began writing down everything I did, leaving notes for myself. You're awake. You're here. But still, whole nights would vanish from my memory. And always, that humming would return. One night, I found an envelope left at my door with no sender. Inside was just one sheet of paper, with a single sentence handwritten in tiny, almost invisible letters. They're just getting started. That's when I realized that everything I went through wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something much bigger. Possibly irreversible. Now, months after that first night, I still wake up at 3 a.m. No matter what time I go to sleep, my body seems to know. And more than that, it seems to be waiting. I avoided telling this story for a long time. At first, out of fear of not being believed. Then, out of fear of what might happen if I said too much. But the truth is, keeping it in made things worse. I began having anxiety attacks, severe insomnia, and at times, thoughts that didn't feel like my own. Yes, it might sound crazy. But on more than one occasion, I was overcome with ideas, words, even symbols I didn't recognize. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to find pencil drawings scattered across the bedroom floor, complex geometric symbols, always done with a steady hand, with almost mechanical precision. I didn't remember drawing them, but they were always in my handwriting. One of those nights, while reviewing a recording from the microphone I always leave on near the piano, I heard something that chilled me to the bone. A whispered, deep, metallic voice speaking in a language I couldn't identify. And yet, I understood what it meant. It was some kind of command. A warning. Something like, "You've been marked." Since then, I started noticing that people around me seemed different. A neighbor, who used to barely speak to me, stared at me for several minutes the other day, like she recognized me from somewhere I didn't even know. And when I asked if everything was okay, she replied, "Are they watching you too?" That question kept echoing in my mind. And after that, she vanished. Her house is still there, untouched, but no one has seen her since. I don't know exactly what they want. I don't know if it's study, surveillance, or some kind of preparation. But the feeling that I'm no longer just human is real. Something in me was touched, changed, maybe even chosen. Lately, I've been feeling something approaching. Kind of anticipation, like another contact is about to happen. And I admit that, although the fear is still there, there's a part of me that wants to understand, that wants answers. Maybe they'll never speak to us the way we expect. Maybe our language just isn't enough to translate what they're looking for. But I know they're here. And I know I'm not the only one who feels it. That's why I'm sharing my story now. So if something happens to me, if I disappear, you'll know. This isn't made up. It's not a fantasy. It's real. Even now, this person is still afraid to talk about what happened. Was it something from this world? Or far beyond what we can imagine? What do you think? Leave your comment. Follow our channel, like and share this video. Stories like this can be silenced at any moment, and your support is essential to make sure they don't disappear.